welcome to Along the Rock, our podcast that pays homage to the people of the Sauk Valley. It's the valley and the river that runs through it. I'm Mark Morris. I'll be your host, and my guests today are Janna Groharing, Executive Director, and Lori VanOosten, the Marketing Assistant from the Sterling Main Street organization. And, of course, you can't leave the farmers market, which will be here before you know it. I hope so.
Well, it's here now. It's year round. It's year round, yes.
Okay.
Our farmers market, the Twin City Farmers Market, is year round.
Right.
52 weeks a year. That's a question I always get. What's a farmers market open? I say Saturday.
I have been gone from this area for about 25 years, having been here for about 10, but I've never seen the building in which the inside portion of the Sterling Farmers Market is held. So tell us about that. And we'll move on to some.
So this is a great segue to the fact that actually this summer, and Lori can tell you more about the special plans, but the Twin City Farmers Market, the indoor portion that's been open year round, is celebrating its 20th anniversary in 2025.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do I feel old now?
Tell me about it. So back in 2005, 20 years ago in July is when the farmers market opened originally. It had just 4 vendors at the time when it started.
Okay.
So it's gone through several expansions, and now year-round indoor vendors, how many do we have? 27. They're every 52 weeks a year. And then the summer market opens. This year it'll be opening on Earth Day, April 26th, with the Earth Day Bash event, and that brings another 20 to 30 vendors a week through its season that runs through the end of October.
That is very convenient. Either one of you can answer this one. What do they specialize in? Obviously, you're going to have a lot of vendors. At this time of the year, we're not selling local produce, but...
That would be where you're wrong.
Yes.
We have Cluster Farms, who has hydroponic lettuce.
Okay.
We have a mushroom vendor, and he has all sorts of different kinds of mushrooms, gourmet mushrooms. We have a microgreens vendor, and I'm trying to think if there's any other. And then Charlene, she brings in from other areas, so we still have some year-round produce in the market.
Wow.
Yep.
So how do you supplement that for those
in
who are
addition,
coming in?
The farmers market is about produce, but it's also, we've got chicken, eggs, turkey, cheeses, regular beef, grass-fed beef, pork. So we've got meat animal products too.
Sure.
Homemade dog treats,
Sourdough vendor,
tons of
bagel
baked goods,
vendor,
homemade
cakes and pies.
locally produced sourdough breads, locally produced bagels, not your store-bought stuff with preservatives. Lots of baked goods. Yeah, tons of baked goods. What else does Michelle make? I mean, she does like
pies,
quiches,
pies, breads, quiches, soups. She usually every Saturday morning will have 1 or 2 breakfast options, whether it's biscuits and gravy or like a breakfast casserole that she would serve warm right there. We have quite a few people that hang out in the dining area and drink coffee.
It's great.
Yep. Yeah. But then in addition to all of that, we've got all sorts of different artisan goods and stuff like that. Objects to fantasy. He makes homemade greeting cards. There's no two alike. They're fabulous. Greeting cards, wreaths, all sorts of wood products. One of our newest vendors with
Elkhorn Valley Timber.
Yeah, it makes homemade basically furniture, end tables, sofa tables, coffee tables, and all sorts of other little wood. I don't want to say tchotchkes is not the right word.
He has candle holders.
Yep.
He has a wine bottle holder now that he's got.
Yeah.
But that's all.
Some of those little shelves that hang on the wall.
All those kind of things.
Lots of anything you can make out of wood and metal, he's on it.
Boy, that's a lot.
We've got CBD products, Green Valley Hemp Farms. So we got a local hemp farm that brings his products. He converts them into like CBD oils and all sorts of tinctures and stuff like that. Even like dog treats that have the CBD in it for calming things for dogs. And So all sorts of locally sourced stuff.
We had a dog up here earlier today that could have used some of that. We do a pet of the week segment,
Nice.
from time to time, and
Yep.
he was a little nuts. Anyway,
Yeah.
the Main Street program. It's always fascinated me. I remember when it first came out, and when you look to the state for something, there's always going to be advice attached to it, and there are always going to be other qualifications you have to meet. But Main Street has always said, this is not about the grant money. This is about partnerships.
Yes.
So how does that work, and how does it not involve grant money?
So Main Street is actually based off a national program. So Main Street America is the national program. Then we have a state coordinating program. It's not through the state of Illinois at all. So Main Street is basically the community investing in itself to revitalize its downtown. To me, your downtown is what makes your community unique. You can go to anywhere USA and you've got a big box store of some kind and a car dealership on the edge of town. But it's those locally owned businesses in your downtown district, those local restaurants, locally owned restaurants that give each community its uniqueness. And the Main Street movement came about in, the early 70s, mid 70s? No, mid to late 70s. It was about the time when basically malls started being born. So back in the day, back in its heyday, downtowns is where was your primary source of commerce. That's where all your stores were. In the 70s, the movement to the mall and the big boxes started taking all those small businesses out of your downtown.
Right.
And things like that. And downtowns across the country started falling into disrepair. If you look at our buildings in our downtown, Sterling, Rock Falls, both of them, you cannot build that again today. You cannot build those 2- and 3-story brick monstrosities that we've got in our downtowns, that unique architecture and all that stuff. So the Main Street program really was brought about to they call it like a historic preservation based economic development program based on place. Downtown is where everybody should want to go. Everybody's welcome downtown. There's a sense of community. You go to your local coffee shop. Rock Falls, you walk across the street, the flip side. Sterling, you go over to Airplay. You're going to run into somebody you support local. It's where all your downtown businesses are, and it's a program to help continue to bring that vitality back to your downtown district.
I have to say it's a program that has definitely worked, because even 25 years ago, they were here and there in Illinois anyway. They were here and there and a few miles this way. But now it seems everybody is doing it. Anybody that's of a small or even mid-sized town with a smaller mid-sized downtown is seemingly has joined up.
It varies from state to state. There's a lot of downtown redevelopment organizations, but their Main Street America program, it is specific. There's currently only about, I think, 28 in Illinois, Main Street America member communities, but there's also some other downtown revitalization programs that are going on that are doing similar work. So, yeah, it's definitely, it's where it's at. It's your local people, you reinvesting in themselves. They're seeing, I don't want to say it's bad, because I don't want to poo-poo any business in our community, whether you're big box or locally owned retail, but the big boxes are going to survive on their own. But e-commerce has really hurt the local small businesses. Amazon especially. So they're the ones that really need your support. If you hear the what is it, Amex, I think is, you support your local small businesses before they disappear altogether. That has so much truth to it. They say, we want these small businesses, but you have to support them. Otherwise they disappear. You can't say it's inconvenient for you.
And of course, if they have a place that now has a new storefront, it's a lot better looking.
Yeah.
There's some storefronts that the owners, for instance, when they tore up downtown Sterling, put in County Market, there were some stores there that we did a series when I worked at the radio station in Sterling called Pieces of the Past. Some of those stores had been the same for just decades, and that you've got to update, you've got to improve. You've got to offer new things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things Main Street allows you to do and do in a very productive way.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to bring that back up again because that's been so hard to overcome you tore down the downtown. That was over 30 years ago. So Emma I'm looking at Emma over here. She doesn't even remember that. Anybody, new people to our community have no active recollection of that. Anybody under 35 years old probably has no active memory of that at all, other than what they've been told by older generations.
Sure.
I mean, I worked at one of those stores when I was in high school, so I'm dating myself here. But we need to move. There's a difference between respecting history and then wallowing it. I mean, I understand it was a bad thing. I get it. But, if you're under 50, we have to move forward. We can look back, but we can't live there. We have to move forward. And that's what we try to do is just how do we move forward from here and continually to make our downtown and our community thereby stronger. We can't change what happened in the past, but we can learn and grow from it and make things better moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do.
You move or you die.
Right. Yep.
An old business axiom.
That's one of the things the Main Street movement about. It's small incremental progress. There's not one big snap your fingers and it's fixed. It's small incremental, constantly striving to do a little bit better than you did yesterday. And that's what we do.
All right. Any other projects or things coming up that you'd certainly like to talk about on this?
Well, we've got a big event.
A little bit warmer day.
We've got all the events planned. We'll kick off with our Sip in the Spring event at the end of March. So we do 2 sip and shop events each year, one in the spring, one in the fall. That's a great way. They're fundraisers for us. They help help sustain our downtown beautification projects, all the flower baskets and stuff we have around the downtown every year. But it's also a good way to get into the storefronts. It's a way the number one feedback we get from our participants that take place in that event every year is, I didn't know this was here, or I didn't know this business carried this item. So, so it's a good way to get you into the door of a business you may or may not have otherwise had the occasion to visit.
Get them out of their cars.
Yeah, exactly, and see what's there. We've got our car show and our cruising series. Those have been immensely popular over the last few years. Car show is always the first Sunday of May. And then our cruise nights are the first Friday nights of June, July, and August. That's all down at the Sterling Marketplace adjacent to the farmer's market. We've got our pop-up markets returning to Dale Park this summer. Vendors and live music there. We've got a Hops in the Rock Craft Beer Festival in October. And then we've got the Shops at Grandin Plaza, our retail incubator project that we started a couple years ago. Continually trying to activate those spaces. We've got 6 small retail incubator units there. 2 of them are currently occupied full time. We'll be doing a number of pop-ups events there over the course of the year as we try to fill them with more permanent tenants. So the opportunity to be involved in the pop-ups there may wane as we get full-time tenants in there, but that's also a great little place to kind of grow your small business at a low risk.
Yeah, those pop-ups have become real popular. I know. For those old folks like me, how do you define a pop-up? Just something that comes in and runs for a certain amount of time, a specified amount of time, and then
pretty much then moves out. It's just it's a day-long business, or they just come in and take over for a certain length of time, and it's just a temporary home for a business.
Good way for people to get to know them at least a little bit.
A lot of it's, I've got an online business or an Etsy store, and I'm looking to kind of test if I want to go to a more brick and mortar. I want to have a physical presence. Pop-ups are just kind of the kitschy term of the day, I think, but it's just a way to grow awareness of your small business.
Yeah. Anything you want to add we haven't touched on? Obviously, you're going to have a busy year again.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Any other plugs for the farmer's market?
Yes, I'm going to go back to the farmer's market.
That's awesome. Snap.
We're going to talk SNAP. Got link card. We've got the program set up now where we can accept link cards for our vendors. But along with that, we received a grant from Link Up Illinois that doubles our money. So they'll come in, they'll swipe their card for, say, $20. They will actually get $20 in tokens and $20 in MatchLink vouchers that are good for fruits and vegetables. That's doubling what their spending power over going to a grocery store. And they know they're getting fresh and local.
That's great. I had not heard about that.
Yep. The Sewer Experimental Station, it's a great program. It's been tremendous for us at the market. The thing is, the tokens are good on any product you could normally buy with your link funds. The vouchers are good only on your fruits and vegetables, but also on plants that produce fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
Okay.
So come with our spring market. Sterling Gardens and some of our other vendors often are selling tomato plants or any of your produce vegetable starter plants. You can use those vouchers to buy that plant in your garden at home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, again, I mean, it's been a tremendous asset for us to have at the market to be able to just double your spending power if you're a link recipient.
And keep it growing in more ways than one.
Yeah, and just to, make people, there's a stigma attached with some of that sometimes, and I don't get that, but it gives them a healthier option, a locally sourced option that should not be prohibitive to link customers just because of some kind of stigma or anything like that. Local produce, local goods. I mean, everybody's complaining about the cost of eggs right now. I remember when COVID hit, everybody's complaining about the cost of eggs, and the cost of eggs at our farmers market has not changed.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I think it changed
So be
50
specific.
cents.
It changed 50
I
cents.
think it changed 50 cents in the last 4 or 5 years. But
I would say
that
10
was
since I've been there. Yeah. But really, but those eggs are still cheaper than the grocery store. And they're fresh.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to last in your fridge a lot longer. It might never last that long anyways, but yeah, things last longer when you buy them local.
Oh, sure. I just heard a prediction. In fact, as long as we're talking about eggs, from somebody connected with the ag industry,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, there's been a lot of bird flu going around, and so as a result, a lot of dead chickens.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that within the next year or two, that eggs would probably go up, not to a dozen, but for a dozen and a half, about $12.
That's where, that's where the local comes in better, because your local free range chicken farmer who's got eggs, your birds aren't going to get the bird flu the way the mass produced are, where you've got 7 gazillion chickens in a small confined area.
Right.
One incident of bird flu is going to wipe out an entire business. You've got a small farmer that's got a dozen chickens. They're laying hens. They're going to produce so many eggs. I've got friends that just have a couple of chickens at their house, and they're constantly giving away eggs because they can't eat them all as fast as they're producing.
Come to my house.
So, that's where local is healthier. They're not giving all those antibiotics and things to fight against all those weird diseases and stuff like that. Local is better.
All right. Well, thank you, Janna Groharing and Lori VanOosten, for coming up.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
I also am very appreciative of the crew that works here for making this program possible on a regular basis. And my name is Mark Morris. I hope you can join us all next time along the rock.